Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jack. So the last time I met you, you were about to go on tour with Tool.
Yes.
How was that?
Even though we were just the opening acts, it was so cool. We played so many famous stadiums, and we played Madison Square Garden in New York City, the Staples Center, or Crypto.com Arena in LA, and those are places that you can only dream of playing when you're young. It was super educational to see a band of that caliber and how they work every day, because it is a very well-oiled machine. The knowledge that we learned from that tour, it's indispensable. We learned so much cool stuff just from watching how they worked. So yeah, it was awesome.
Okay.
And it's cool playing in front of 20,000 people. The crowd reaction was really good. Tool, as many people know, their fans are pretty crazy. Their Reddit page, for instance, they discuss all of these things, like the opening bands and stuff. Every day we would go on and read what people were saying. The reaction was super positive, even to the point that people were on the Reddit threads being like, hey, if you're going, go there early so you can catch Elder. We always had a pretty good crowd, and it was super cool that when we started playing, people were still coming in. And then when we were finished playing, they would turn on the house lights and it would be completely packed. The stadium would be completely packed, and we'd be like, whoa, there are tons of people here. I think we've definitely gained fans. Even shows in Europe here, we've met people that they would fly to the States to go see Tool, and they saw us for the first time. We meet them at shows and be like, oh, hey, we saw you at Tool, and you guys were awesome. So now we're coming to your local shows, our tiny shows. Yeah, and Tool, they always have a mixed bag of opening acts. They definitely don't adhere to one genre. They choose bands that they're into at the time. We were very fortunate that we got the call up.
How is the current tour? I believe several dates were sold out.
We have been touring on the 10th anniversary of our album Lore. The reception has been very good. In the States, we sold out a ton of shows. 90% of them. And here in Europe, it's very similar. It's a little harder to gauge because we're playing a lot of festivals here. But even the festivals we're headlining, and they're always usually sold out. It's just been a wild ride playing this album that's 10 years old. It makes us feel old.
How does it feel to play an entire record that was written 10 years ago?
It's funny because every album after it has improved in songwriting, in progressiveness, and technicality of playing. So a lot of the newer songs are a little bit more challenging to play. So it's nice going back to this album that we made 10 years ago. The songs are a little simpler. We also have played them for 10 years now, so it's pretty much locked in the memory of the fingers. So rehearsal was very smooth, and we've even added new kind of jammy parts in some of the songs to spice it up a little bit for us to play. Compendium is one of our more famous songs. We played pretty much every single song from the album, with the exception of the song Dead Weight, which we had never played live before. And now we're playing it live, and that one is the most fun to play. It's a good record, and it's fun to play front to back.
Do you still remember the writing process? Is there a particular moment that sticks out to you?
This is back when we were still a three-piece. This is when we were kind of in college and kind of moving around a little bit more in our lives. And after we did the Spires Burn release EP. While we were recording that, we were starting to work on the song Compendium. We worked on that one together. And then Nick went to Germany to study for a year. He did a lot of the songwriting while he was in Germany. He came back from Germany, we all got together and we were like, okay, we have enough material for a new record. We went and rehearsed it, and then I think we recorded it in 5 days.
In 5 days?
Yeah.
The entire thing?
The entire thing.
Every instrument?
Every instrument.
Wow.
That was back in the day before we had less money than we do now, so we definitely had to use our time wisely.
Okay. Honestly, I'm kind of mind blown that you record this in 5 days.
Yeah, it was a lot of rehearsal, and
yeah.
We've been playing together for a long time. We know how to work in the studio pretty efficiently.
Is there a record you associate with that time period?
That we were listening to?
Yeah.
This is when I was starting to get way more into progressive rock. I'm a huge Rush fan, and I remember I was listening to the album Caress of Steel. We were starting to get into this band Camel, with the record Mirage. A lot of Yes. It was definitely our period though of moving away from stoner rock and doom, whatever, that umbrella genre, and starting to implement more progressive parts into our music because we were listening to more progressive rock. Like, we were maturing as music listeners, and you can kind of hear it in between Deadwood Stirring and Lore, big time. Nick and I went to high school together, and we used to bond over, like, Bongzilla and, like, you know, the old stoner rock albums, and, you know, Sleep, like, any of the heavy hitter stoner rock bands. We were into that. But by the time we wrote Lore, we started branching out and listening to more interesting progressive rock music, which has a lot of elements of stoner rock in it too, if you listen. A lot of stoner rock is restricted to just kind of like blues, pentatonic scales, doesn't really venture out that much, and we were improving as players at the time. We were getting into prog rock, and we were like, wait a second, like, we can bridge the gap between the two genres. It's pretty effective using some of the progressive rock, like, tricks or ideas, or using different time signatures, for instance, but still keeping the stoner rock, like, the heart of that alive. The music definitely progressed naturally with us becoming better players and listening to different non-stoner rock music.
What's your favorite song of Lore?
I like Deadweight because that one is a little more rock and roll. It has a lot of energy, a lot less tempo changes and things like that. It's kind of straightforward, just like in your face the whole time, and it's super fun to play live. I like them all. They're all fun. They're all very different. Compendium's also super fun to play live. I tend to drift towards the songs that are fun to play live that are my favorite, because that's when I have the most fun on stage.
Musically and or personally, which advice would you give your 10 years ago self?
I would like to say that we did okay. Like 10 years ago, I think we were going in the right direction. I mean, you know, we were in our 20s, like, maybe I should have been, like, learning more about the studio side of things, because we were all still pretty green at that point. And as we have progressed in music and recording music and things, the more that you learn about being in the studio, the better that you are in the studio, where you can talk with the engineer and you can use the same lingo. You can talk about gear the same way. You can talk about effects and you know the process a little bit better. Like, if I knew more then, I mean, we still did it in 5 days, but I think that it would have been good advice to be like, hey, pay attention to what the mixing engineer is doing. Like, start to learn those tips and tricks that he can teach you, and that will help you musically and personally, to be honest. So the more things you learn, the better.
For how long have you been playing bass?
I'm 36 now. I started playing guitar when I was 15, I believe. And Nick and I actually, we started kind of playing guitar together. We used to take guitar lessons together. So I'll say I was 16 then, and when I'm a year older than Nick, so I went off to college when I was 18, and then Nick made Elder when he was still back at home. But then the year after I was away for college, I was talking to him the whole time, and he was like, hey, we want a second guitarist for Elder. So when I first joined Elder, I was actually a second guitar player. But then the bassist of the band at the time, he went off to college, and then Nick was just like, all right, Jack, it looks like you're playing bass.
But isn't that a huge difference to switch from having two guitarists to only one?
So back in the day, when we were still playing like the self-titled stuff, it really didn't matter. There wasn't too much variance of guitar work. There wasn't a lot of harmonies and stuff like that. It was just straight up like doom stoner rock. It was very easy to just cut out the second guitar and just become a three-piece again. And we did that all the way up until Reflections. That's when we introduced Mike Risberg into the band as the second guitarist. Now we need a second guitar player. And we've even toured with a keyboard player too.
I believe the original drummer left after the record?
Matt Kudo was his name. Still a very good friend of ours.
So was it like that Matt wanted to continue to play this more stoner stuff.
Yeah, after that, but really, life just kind of happened, and he started a family. He is happy as could be, but yeah, he got back into the music scene, which is great. We just played Desert Fest London, and we saw Matt. He plays in this like kind of just a stoner rock band from Boston.
What keeps you motivated to play bass?
Live shows. I love playing music for people. It is so much fun. I love going to shows and watching people play, and I like to do the same thing on the other end. There's no better high than getting on stage and playing music. It gives me it's nothing is better than it. So I will continue to play bass as long as I can keep getting on stage and rocking out.
And do you practice a lot at home?
I play like other instruments more, I would say, nowadays. Of course, when it comes time to tour with Elder, I'll just practice bass. Over the years of playing music, I've accrued a lot of cool gear and instruments, and I still love playing guitar. And I love playing synthesizers and just like making my own stupid music that will never see the light of day. I don't know if I would start another band. Maybe I would record my own like thing, and then if I could get some guys to play with me, but Elder takes up a lot of time already.
What music are you currently listening to the most?
It's kind of lame, but I really like early 90s country, like American country. Back before it was all beers and chicks and partying, like Kenny Chesney, for instance, like that and like Garth Brooks. That still had the heart of kind of classic country rock. That and like some folky, like math folk stuff. So like complex guitar playing folk music. I'll listen to anything, believe me, and I think that in any genre of music you can find something that you like.
If Elder was a movie, which one would it be?
Elder was a movie. Which one would it be? It's a good question. It'd have to be some traveling movie. This is a really hard question.
I always had Lord of the Rings in my mind.
Okay, yeah, if you want to look at like the epic scope of it, yes, Lord of the Rings would be good. Extended versions. Yeah, Lord of the Rings works. I mean, we're all definitely big Tolkien fans in general. We were just talking about the Bo Hansson Lord of the Rings records. Bo Hansson, an old Swedish organ player, and he made a just kind of standalone record called Lord of the Rings, and just no vocals or anything, just organ. That record is badass. It matches up pretty well if you all the songs and all the chapters and everything. I suggest you give it a listen.
What's the story of your Magic the Gathering cards that are attached to the amps?
We're all nerds in the end. No, we're all Magic the Gathering fans, and we play in our off time and while we're on tour. Nick right now, he has Delver's Torch, and that's because of his other band Delving, which is a card. I found that card for him. I was like, dude, you gotta use this one. And then Brisberg has it's like a Grateful Dead. I forget. I think it's called Grateful Dead or something like that. And it's like because he's a big Deadhead. It kind of looks cool.
How far are you in the writing process of your upcoming record?
We have a bunch of ideas. I'd say we have the headway on probably 4 or 5 songs right now. They're not complete, but I think that after the touring that we're doing this year, we'll buckle down and we'll start getting everything together. We'll send demos to each other like we always do. We have a lot of material ready to go. Usually the Elder formula is 5 songs. If it's more, that's cool. I doubt it will be less. It's gonna be from Innate Passage, kind of like the next step. We're definitely using implementing electronic instruments a lot more. With the beauty of MIDI technology, you can achieve so much and make sure everything's on the same clock. And when you do that, I don't know, you can layer so many cool ideas. And there are so many cool instruments out there these days that the sky's the limit. The songs are still very Elder rock oriented. You'll hear a riff and be like, okay, yeah, that's an Elder riff.
Exciting.
It is exciting. I know. I can't wait to record it. Well, Jack from Elder signing off here. Thank you so much for listening, and rock on, baby.
Awesome.